Don't say parental rights.
Well, what I'm saying that was the purpose.
It's a funny
of the
title
bill,
for a bill.
Yeah, but
is
no.
that you have to tell the parents, right? Am I getting that wrong?
What are you thinking?
It has to do with gay.
Okay, what do you mean? Go ahead.
It has to do with an agenda that's being pushed. They want to. The goal. Okay, for why are we talking about sexuality with kids 9
That's
under
what
period?
but that's what I've been saying. That's been my whole point.
Look, my daughter's nine. I don't want to be talking to her about heterosexual sex, homosexual sex, animal sex, anything.
What's good, Fresno? What's good? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Not Offended podcast, episode 5. That's how we're doing today. We're going to we have some great topics. The guys somewhat know what's going on, but somewhat they don't. That way we can all argue. I have a goal today, and it's to prove DeShawn wrong, the bishop, on everything today, all the points. He's over here telling me people think he's such a sage. We're going to prove him wrong today. No, for real. I'm just messing with everybody. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to share this with people. We talk about stuff, everyday stuff, and we want to just keep people informed. I'm going to start off with this week's sermon. We're talking about your story, the story, right? And I talked about it yesterday. And what's our story? I encourage everybody to share their story about, what was their life like before Christ, who invited you to church, and what's your life like now after Christ, right? Accepting him as your Lord and Savior. So, Bill, we're just going to start with you. We're going to start out with you, the agent over here. Tell us, what was your life like before Christ?
Well, for me, it's pretty simple. Okay. I didn't grow up in church, and so there wasn't a whole lot of Christ in my life then. Didn't really know him. Didn't know him. Knew of him. Didn't know him at all. And so my family, never attended church, not even on Easter or anything like that. So
not even on Christmas, Easter's, weddings, funerals,
nope.
Nothing?
Nope.
Man, he was a heathen. All right.
Sure.
All right. He was a sinner right here. All right, it's good. You had secular Saturdays, right? You had them sinning Saturdays. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So
who invited you to church?
So it was my my high school baseball coach.
Okay.
Actually, Terrence Frazier.
Oh, shout out. T. Frazier.
So Terrence invited me to church when I was back in high school.
Do you remember what church that was? Shout out to
that
the church.
That was Grace Community Church. They were off of Maroa. They're no longer there. They were off of Maroa and Barstow. That's where they were located.
This is back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah. About so I was 17, junior year of high school, and
was it a quick conversion or a slow conversion, or what was going on?
No, it was quick. I wasn't living for the Lord. They invited me. It was probably maybe my second time I was there.
Right.
The Lord spoke to me and said I need to change some things, and I walked up. I walked up and gave my life to the Lord. But here's my thing about my story is I got saved. Wasn't serving, didn't know much about him, got saved. And then I felt like there was pressures of the world that came.
Oh.
And so living in the world, living in sin, I didn't know what it was like to walk out.
So you had sinful Saturdays. That was.
Absolutely. And that's when, right after that, went to college, did the whole college thing, out partying, drinking and things. And so for me, it was a process.
All right.
Right after I got saved. And, I didn't really just jump right in and start serving them. It took me a little bit. The world kind of pulled me back.
Oh, okay. So then you come back from college and you have your born again experience, or?
Yeah. After college, just trying to figure out, college, went to go play professional baseball. Still kind of living in the world. And, then once you get released, life starts, right? and it hits you right in the face. And it really was when I started dating my wife, Janet, where she had just been saved, and she was on fire for the Lord. And so I was motivated by my wife to get fired.
Ain't nothing like a godly woman to get you motivated now.
Absolutely. And so only two things mature a man.
That's it.
It's war and marriage.
There it is. Which is another type of war.
Yes. And so I had to, get serious about life.
Sure.
And we started serving the Lord right
So
there.
What's your life like now?
Oh, my goodness. So, completely changed. I have purpose in my life now. And that purpose is to serve God, and serve people and raise my family, to be a husband and a father to my kids.
Love it.
And the Lord and the Bible has taught me how to do that.
That's so good. And for those of you who don't know, shout out Bill is the realtor, so that's why I call him the agent, because he's a real estate agent. And he's a good one at that, so we appreciate you, Bill. Plus, Bill's been the point man on everything Tower. We appreciate him. We couldn't be doing this without him, so we appreciate you, man. Thank you for sharing your story. All right, Bishop, we're going to you. So we want to hear about you. What was your life like before Christ?
Well, I grew up in church my whole life.
Okay, tell us about that. What do you mean you grew up in church? Like,
so I was at church every Sunday. All
Didn't
day.
miss.
Didn't miss. I can remember the times I missed church.
Wow.
Like I was at church so often. So semi-living for God in a way, just young. As a guy in the high school, sort of strayed away, and especially when I got out of high school, definitely wasn't living for God, but still thought I was saved. Like, I was like,
so you had secular Saturdays too.
I mean, the whole life was that way. But I literally remember at a Carl's Juniors by the mall, sitting with my friend who grew up in church too.
Right.
And I was like, he's like, my dad's worried if I die today, I might be in hell. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? You believe John 3:16? You good, bro? I'm like, you good. He was like, man, I don't know. It's always believed that I remember I got fired from a job. I go to a Bible study and it changed my life. And then I just came to this realizing that even the demons believe and tremble.
That's right.
And James tells us, man, they actually know there's God. They seen God. They know he exists, but they chose not to follow him. And it was like, I know there's God, but I have a choice to follow him or not. And that just changed my whole life when I realized that.
So did you get back invited to church, or did you start going back to your church? What happened there?
Yeah, I just, at that same time, the Bible said I was going to he started his own church right after that. And so I ended up going with him and helping him start his church from there.
Wow, that's great. So what's your life like now? Of course, it's easy, right? That means just unicorns and rainbows and all sorts of fun, and it's perfect, right?
Well, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's also like from that moment on, I didn't want to compromise anything. Okay. So any job that came, hey, you have to work on Sundays, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. Everything from then on, I was like, I'm living for God. Things haven't always been easy, but things have always worked out. Every single thing's always worked out.
Wow.
Whether I didn't have a lot of money, but I was like, no, I'm still going to give because it's what God called me to do, and I always just had enough. Like, God has came through 100% of the time, so he's been faithful.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. No, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. All right, Mike Cook, what's going on, man?
My story is exactly like DeShawn.
What's up, fam? Tell everyone what's going down. Go ahead.
I can remember, the amount of Sundays I missed. No, born and raised in Portland, Oregon. Didn't grow up around anybody who was a believer. Nobody in my family. None of my friends. Nobody that I went to school with. Like I remember specifically in elementary school, there was one kid that said he went to church, and like everybody gave him the hardest of times. And I was like, man, I never want to be like that kid. But never been exposed to Bible believing. Sure. Just Bible following, Jesus loving church. There was a person that was standing on the corner. If you know Portland, it's like Sandy meets Burnside right around, like, I don't know what it is, like 15th or 39th or whatever it is. And they would like sit out there with a sign and basically telling you like, turn and burn. Ooh. Or turn or burn, or maybe turn and burn. I don't know what it is over there.
Are we barbecuing, or what are we doing here? What's
just
going
telling
on?
people to go to hell and knowing I didn't want any part of that.
Okay.
And so it wasn't until high school where I was introduced to a friend of mine. He was going to, not like FCA, but Young Life stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I remember hearing about him going, and I went a couple times, but they weren't really like preaching the gospel. Right. It was more like they were just hanging out, not smoking. Yeah. So I was like,
talking about weed too. You talking about cigarettes, right? You talking about that weed, right?
They were smoking weed. They weren't drinking. They weren't smoking. It was super boring. I was like, what are we doing over here? Like, I'll leave and then go do that. So, and then I get to college. I'm playing baseball at a community college in Humboldt, and I'm introduced to you,
right,
Pastor Anthony, and I went to a college group at what was the name of the church on Bayside?
Oh, it was Faith Center.
Faith Center.
But shout out Faith Center. Yep.
Bayside was
1032 Bayview Drive. That's
Bayview,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bayside, Bayview. I remember it was something like that.
Yeah.
And just totally go there the first night. Raise my hand, to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. But I don't change my life.
Right.
So that was a very slow process.
Right.
So that took about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
of actually saying yes to God.
Right.
So I accepted in my heart, but my life didn't change.
Which was crazy because we stayed in contact for all those years.
Yeah, and it was old school, so it would be like through email.
It was,
There wasn't like we weren't texting.
For the generation that tunes in, email is this thing that you correspond, kind of sort of like texting.
Right. We were cool by emailing. So my senior year in college, I finally make that conversion. I get to a place where I literally have that conversation with
And you're
God.
up at Portland State, right?
I'm going to Portland State my senior year.
Right.
And it's a Saturday night, and I have this conversation that sounds like, God, if you're real.
Yep.
And people joke about that, but I literally was like, God, if you're real. And I go to a church service the next day and just have some conversations with people, and just a ball started to roll.
Remember that.
And I started to say yes to him and no to some of the other stuff. And my life really starts to change. And then fast forward a year from that point, it's basically 11 months from that night, I ended up moving down to Fresno.
Right. How's your life different, you would say?
I would say that emotionally, I was very much a roller coaster prior to Christ.
Okay.
Lots of highs, lots of lows. And so that's why all the extracurricular stuff would come into play, because depending on if you're on a high or you're on a low, you try to find your fix.
Right.
And so post Christ and having him into my life, he's my fix.
Right.
So I don't have to look out for or look to all these other things in order to kind of stabilize my life. So my joy is found in him. My hope is found in him. My peace is found in him. And so all these other things that go on outside of my life, my finances, my marriage, job stuff, the church stuff, all these different kid stuff that would cause you to go up and down, with Christ, it allows me to level off. And so I'm just constantly having peace about my life.
Man, that's some good preaching, y'all. This is good. It's good to know the people who help us run the church and hearing their stories. And man, that's just awesome. I would say this though, Mike, you didn't have secular Saturdays. You had whole week long adventures there. It sounds like
I feel like every chance that you get to kind of throw me under the bus on that.
Well, I just
my eyes are always naturally low. Okay, it's just.
I just want to go on record. I remember pulling up to the house to pick up Mike. We had this little van ministry, and I was picking up all these college students, and there was the basic 3 questions: will there be food? Is there girls? And when they found out I had a big old arcade and all these video games, how long can we stay and play video games? And it was crazy because we literally, I know this is going to not surprise people, but we used to cook 5-star meals. We were known for the meals we were cooking at the college group, and it exploded. Hungry college students, it's a real thing. And it was crazy because we had people in the church who literally, and they were doing too much. It's getting too fancy. One time we had literally this very special deer meat. And I looked at this dude, I'm like, don't nobody want to eat this? We want some fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy. And it's oh, but you don't understand, this is a rare recipe. No, I do understand. No one's even heard of it. You got to get rid of this. Now I remember everybody walking in going, what are we having? And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I'll just order pizzas. But it was a real thing. People would stay in fellowship. People would stay till clear 9 to 10 o'clock at night. And it was crazy to see what God was doing and watching this process. But there's still fruit. There's still fruit from that college ministry and seeing what God was doing. But thank you for sharing the stories. I appreciate it so much. And we want to encourage you guys who listen to Not Offended podcast, start practicing your story. People want to hear it. Trust me. Once you get to talking to people, they're going to want to hear it because they're going to want to see how God takes somebody who's dead and then makes them alive. It's not necessarily we went from being this bad person to a good person, because as you hear, it's a process, right? But we do go from death to life. And I think that needs to be shared. Amen. So I encourage everybody to work on that. Okay, let's get into the first thing that I know is all, if you follow any type of politics or now, even entertainment, everybody's wondering what's this thing about the Don't Say Gay bill. And it's crazy because I'm not going to lie to you guys. At first glance, I was like, what? There's a bill. There's literally a piece of legislation that says don't say gay. I thought that's kind of aggressive. I don't know if I like that. And then come to find out, it's not what the bill's called at all. And by the way, if you listen to the pundits on TV, it's not even remotely accurate to how they describe it. And I've heard people, matter of fact, Pete Buttigieg, I think he does something for us in the highest government. I think he works with, I don't know, he does roads or something. Transportation guy. He's married to a man, and his husband is a teacher. And he went on record and said, because this bill passed, there are going to be kids who kill themselves. And Pete Buttigieg went on The View and he doubled down on it. This bill is so horrible, people are going to kill themselves. And I'm like, see, this is what gets people upset. You didn't read the bill. You didn't discuss it. You eventually went to talking points and hyperbole. Now I'm going to tell you what's killing kids. Fentanyl. Fentanyl is what's killing kids. But don't nobody want to talk about it. Kids are committing suicide. Well, why? Well, right now people say it's because of the lockdowns.
Yeah.
The social skills have eroded, but we don't talk about the real things. But let's go to this. Disney comes out and says, that's it. We have an agenda. We're going to totally buck this Don't Say Gay bill. And we want to make sure that X amount of movies promote homosexuality. And now we got to have X amount of workers who are gay, or I don't know the abbreviations, something like that. So this has been a big topic. It made it to the Oscars. It's everywhere now, even in sports. Now, DeShawn, I know that you did a little bit of research. Can you tell us what the bill is actually called and what it's really, really about, please?
What's actually called, I forgot. Bill might know what it happened.
SB something 1557.
Okay, SB 15.
HB, yeah.
Yeah, and so basically up to third grade, you can't teach anything about sexual identity. As simple as that.
And third grade is what age? Anybody up to
9?
9.
So 9 and younger. 9 and younger. Okay.
So anything that's across the board about sexual identity. Then after that, anything to do with any kids' emotional or physical health or anything like that, you have to let notify the parents. So simply, if a kid comes out saying, "No, I want to transition," the teacher has to notify the parent about this. Simple as that. It's not, you can't say gay, or it's just simply you got to notify the parent. It's the parent being a parent. I get to choose what treatments or what my kid gets to go through. You don't get to choose. Now, people's argument against that is like, well, this doesn't make the kid safe. You have to out the kid. Well, you're not the parent. Your job isn't to parent the kid. My job is. So it's okay for me to get notified for that.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody help me out. I don't understand what the problem is. Why is this such a big deal? I have 3 kids. And it is my job. God gave them to me to parent them. I don't understand why is this even an issue? Why is it taking up so much bandwidth? Somebody want to help me out here?
Well, I don't know that much other than what DeShawn just said, but it's a parental rights bill, right? It's about the parents. That's it. You start there.
No. But it's not. Then it would have been parental rights. Don't say parental rights.
Well, what I'm saying that was the purpose.
It's a funny title for a bill.
Yeah, but
is that you have to tell the parents, right? Am I getting that wrong?
What are you thinking?
It has to do with gay.
Okay, what do you mean? Go ahead.
It has to do with an agenda that's being pushed. They want to. The goal. Okay, for why are we talking about sexuality with kids 9 under period?
But that's what I've been saying. That's been my whole point.
Look, my daughter's 9. I don't want to be talking to her about heterosexual sex, homosexual sex, animal sex, anything. Okay, well, no, because we have the Animal Channel. The Animal Channel comes on. Hey, look, when the Animal Channel comes on and the lions start doing their thing, I change it.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, you don't want to have these conversations.
I don't want to have the.
No, you're right.
Period. So why are we talking about that at all? It's because they're trying to push an agenda. The younger that you can start to indoctrinate kids about anything.
Well, okay. Yep. So hold on. So since you said that, I don't know that it's just an agenda, but since you said that, Disney just got ousted. Apparently, somebody was shooting videos of their top executives, who didn't think they were being recorded, but they were being recorded. And that's exactly what they said. They even said their motive was, we have an agenda.
Yeah.
We have an agenda that we want to sexualize the kids at a young age. Now, we know this to be the term grooming.
Yeah.
And parents are fed up and like, listen, they're my child. And I want to be able to talk to my child about what my child is going through.
But they make it seem like it's this gay thing. It's not. Like, I don't want to watch. I tell my kids, I don't want you guys watching any of like the preteen shows where they have like
You're just saying age appropriation.
Yeah. It's just at that age, you shouldn't be talking about that. Look, at 8, 9, yeah, you want to start talking about like, hey, when you go to school, you're going to see that there's boys and girls that might kiss or something like that. Because in reality, it's
happening. You're right.
Okay?
True.
So you're not like blindfolding them to life.
Yeah, true.
But at the same time, you don't have to like overstimulate them on all the sexual
Do you
stuff.
feel like that's what's there's an overstimulation right now?
Yes, absolutely. The stuff that's going on in the cartoons, all these different things, like even the way that even the way they do the cartoon characters.
Right.
It's like, why are you making this cartoon character have such big busts?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? You know exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
And so it's this hypersexuality that they're pushing.
Now, see, I would agree with that all day. And, kudos and shout out to Ron DeSantis for putting his foot down. I got no problem with it. I know there's people out there who, don't like him or whatever, but all he was saying was we're going to give the parents the right to parent their kids. I'm going to piggyback on something that you said because I think it's true, and you guys can chime in anytime you want. There is a radical sexualization or over-sexualization that's going on right now, and kids are not allowed to be kids. Matter of fact, after men's breakfast on Saturday, I saw something that I almost just had to record because it was such a nostalgic moment, such an innocence. I saw some of our youth playing football in the parking lot. Not on video games, not watching something that's over-sexualized, not participating in something that was, melting their brains, so to say, but they were just being young adolescent boys playing a good old 3 flies up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, just doing the 4-on-4 street ball. And as a joke for all the dads who were standing out there, I did the old school, hey, there's a car. And we all start laughing and we're all immediately taken back to nostalgia, right? It's like, man, do you remember this? You remember when you were just allowed to be, we could say young and innocent, but we weren't bombarded where everything is sexualized from the movies to the music to the media, everything. It's like, just let them grow up. I mean, just let them be kids, not make them grow up so soon. Yeah. I don't know. Am I wrong on that? I mean, we all got boys. Am I wrong?
So, I would say this. Yes, the enemy wants to go after your kids. Yeah. Right. And
real.
So we share our 3 stories. Right. And so what happened to me when I was 17? Mike, what happened to you? Right. You and DeShawn, you guys, we all went away from the Lord a little bit. And so the world, we had all these other things, going drinking, clubbing, and all this stuff. And so the enemy attacked us back then. Now the enemy is attacking you at an even earlier age.
That's real.
Right? And if he can grab you at 6, 7, 8 years old, he might try to have you for the rest of your life. Right? And for me, the enemy was trying to get me at 17, 18, 19 years old. And so that's kind of how I see what's going on now, is that he's going after even younger kids nowadays. And so we as parents have to we have to protect that for sure.
Right. And I feel like specifically, DeShawn, maybe you can speak on this since you grew up in church, but I feel like it's targeting young men, these young boys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like that more because I'm a man and I have a young boy, and I'm like, no, he gets to be a boy, and he is a boy because God made him that way. And I do feel that they want to shame you for being that. And so, like my son, I never taught him this, but I mean, my favorite color is purple. And guys will make fun of me for that. My son, 5-year-old son, is making fun of me because my favorite color is purple. He was like,
I like purple though.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just like a boy thing to do. It was like, hey, that color's for girls. Da, da, da. And I'm messing with them, but like that's just him.
Okay.
He likes to hit people. He likes to fight. He's physical. And then I don't stop that because, hey, that's what boys do. And people don't like that. I don't care. He's going to be a boy. And I want him to be that. I don't want people to come and attack that. Also, he can be real sensitive and real loving, real caring.
Right.
He could love like Mike's son. He loves Mike's son. Likes getting them gifts and things like that. I don't want them coming and saying, oh, yeah, maybe you like boys. No, that's just his friend. That's the part I'm afraid of. They're going to try to take this and make him think of something that's innocent and change it to something else. It's like, no, that's just your homie. No big deal. That's who you are.
Right.
You like to hang out with your friends and get them stuff. No big deal. But you still go like girls. But that's just your friend. But I feel like they want to try to take that and twist that in that way.
Man, speak on that, man. We talked about that. Well, we're going to transition right to the church because that's what we do. And we made it a point on Saturday for our men's breakfast. And I know I caught a lot of heat from the Fresno Bee on this, talking about we're reclaiming masculinity. And I put that on anybody. I ain't chipping Fresno Bee, ABC 30. I don't care who come after me. It don't matter to me. I stand by what I say. I don't mix my words. I don't duck nobody. I don't dodge. There ain't nothing wrong with it. It's biblical masculinity. I mean, I want them to be a warrior like David and take on Goliath, but I also want them to be a caring father that First Peter says that a husband should be, and a good husband, faithful to one woman, period. Yep, ain't trying to be no player, right? And I'm not going to duck that. That's what we're to do. And I feel like we're at a crossroads where the church is scared to speak on it. Why are we so scared to speak on it? Why are we so scared? I mean, we talk about it as men. We want to raise our daughters in such a way. We have goals there that we're trying to make sure that they're married to a good man. That they're not doing something they shouldn't be doing or flaunting something they shouldn't be flaunting. We talk about it. But why can't we talk about what we want for our boys? Why can't we try to, like you said, keep them in their innocence of what's going on and yet validate them like, hey, boys jump off roofs. It's what we do. Boys every now and then will go probably pee on a tree. It's what they do. I'm not going to knock that. Like you said, he's just being a boy.
The big thing we talked about even in my small group is how did Scripture tells us that husbands, like women are supposed to honor their husband, right? But it also submit to their husband. But it also tells us the husband that they're supposed to love their wife as Christ has loved the church, to lay down. And they're like, how did we get away from that? That's what I'm saying. But what I told them is like, people in the past have abused that Scripture. They use it to ward over women, and so because of that, now they want to simply get rid of the man. Be weak and be soft. Because people abuse it beforehand doesn't mean that we still shouldn't obey it and still be men that can be warriors, that can be strong, but lay down our lives for our wife. We can do it in the correct way, not get rid of men and get rid of husbands. That's not the right way to go about it. Man. So it's the same thing as a lot of people want to make white people feel bad. I mean, if you want to feel bad for me, go ahead. I'll take $100 and you can feel better. But he shouldn't have to.
Mike broke, bro. Mike broke.
Stereotypes doesn't work here, but
all right, man. Yeah. The one white friend I got, he broke. But Mike shouldn't have to feel bad for being white because of something that was in the past. Right. He just has to do his best of what God has called him to do. That's right. But people want to throw shame on him for that. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But there's things that need to change, but you don't have to feel guilt. I don't have to feel guilt for being a man. I need to do it the way that God has called me to do it. So why is the church quiet? I don't get it. You don't hear pastors talk about it anymore. Like, hey, listen, there's a way as a man, a biblical man is supposed to act. And God has created us to be warriors and to also be lovers, right? I don't understand. We don't hear that anymore. I feel like all masculinity in general, even in the church, is now starting to move the direction of it's all toxic. Like if a man is aggressive or if a man is, this way or that way, then it's just toxic. I don't understand why the church is so quiet. What is happening? And this is what concerns me. What concerns me is we're raising a generation who no longer knows how to fight for their faith. Because now it's everything, well, you shouldn't engage. You shouldn't clap back. It's not going to work anyway. No, stand your freaking ground. Stand your ground and don't let it move you. Our forefathers died to a cross or to a stake, burnt alive, killed, beheaded. Were put in coliseums for spectator sport. We're those men out who are like, it's Christ or nothing. Faith walk ain't no cakewalk. Let's go. Yeah, David, he's standing up. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? He's standing up for his faith. No, I'm going to go kill this dude. You have Moses standing against Pharaoh. He's standing for their faith. Like, there's a time to stand up for your faith. My son has to learn how to fight so he can fight for his faith. He has to fight for his marriage. He has to fight to stay, just to love that one woman. He has to fight for his kids. He has to know how to fight and be a man that God's called him to be. Right. I just don't understand. You guys are in other churches. It's not a hot topic. Trust me. It's. I don't even think it makes it into the rotation once every 3 years. That, hey, our church. And by the way, when we started this church, we made no qualms about it. This was going to be a church that invested in young men to be strong men. Because I tell you right now, it is proven statistically that if you get men on fire for God, the family will follow.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just 100%. Proven. But I feel like the church has gotten. I don't know. I just feel like we've gotten scared. We've gotten scared to post it or to talk about it. We're afraid of this cancel culture. Man, forget cancel culture.
There's an absolute fear of being canceled. There's an absolute fear of being canceled and being part of the wave of churches that are closing and the wave of things that are shutting down, and that the Big C church is afraid of going against the narrative of the culture. And that's why I don't think that you hear about it a lot. And because we don't. If you look at, sermons that are posted online from different churches, whether it be locally or globally, there are few and far between that are just very adamant and taking a stance on biblical masculinity, because the narrative in society is that if you were to say anything like that, you're misogynistic.
Yep.
Right? So there's affirming that takes place in everything outside of biblical masculinity. Once you start talking about that, it is derogatory, it's offensive. I can't believe that you would say such a thing. I can't believe that you would raise your children to be that way. And so if you say anything that's counter to what the culture is pushing, then it's, heresy. I cannot believe that you would say such a thing. But if you flip it upside down, then it's oh no, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's tolerance. So it's tolerance and acceptance for everything that's not biblical.
Okay, no. So I'm only laughing at myself over here because I remember they quoted me. I was doing that sermon and I was talking to the man. I'm like, man, I'm gonna help you stay pure. I got you. Let me give you some helpful hints. And remember, I was talking about being at the gym. And remember, I was talking to married men, to men in general, who are trying to keep their purity before the Lord. That's all I was talking about. And I had to talk about, hey, when you're at the gym, y'all need to use discretion. And I said, if someone comes working out next to you and she's dressed in a attire that's going to make you lust, or it's going to make you want to go after her, then you either need to pray and hopefully she moves on, or you need to move on yourself so that you don't fall into temptation. And then I made that quote because no man can stand at a buffet and not sample. Man, everybody, we had signs for the next 6 weeks. And then everybody was tweeting at me.
Shirts, bumper stickers.
Remember? Oh, that pastor can't control himself, that fat pastor. Look at him. He couldn't say no to a buffet. I mean, they was going after me for everything. And you know what? They expected me to apologize. They expected me. So what do? I doubled down the next week. I said what I said, and I meant every word of it. Why? Because it's my job to teach biblical masculinity, and that is what? Crucify your flesh daily. If I don't, then the flesh will try to slay me, right?
Every guy knew what you were talking about.
Now, one guy was like, hey, man, he was wrong about that.
And every woman knew what you were talking about, too.
They might not know to the fullest.
No. They know what's up.
But I had married women tell me, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
No, yeah. Hey, you're right, Mike. Every woman knew what you were talking about, because I know my wife has spotted that one person before I spotted it.
Shout out to Janet. Come on, Janet.
Just to see what's going to happen.
Don't go over there.
She's setting you up, dog. She's setting you up.
You better not go do curls. Don't go do curls over there. She's already.
I'm a stick over here in the. I don't know, man.
He's over there on that Stairmaster.
No, he can't go to the Stairmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot go to the Stairmaster.
He jumped a rope in a corner. No, but I think it's true. But they try to come at me like that. I'm like, man, I'm trying to do my part. Jesus said, this is Jesus. If your eyes offend you, pluck your eyes out. Yeah. Better that you go to heaven blind than you go to hell seen.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all sweat me over here, but I'm spitting this truth.
Yeah.
And that's why it don't bother me.
Yeah, but their view of sexuality is also different than yours as well.
And that's why they got mad at me. Oh, she should be able to wear what she wants. She can. I never said nothing that she couldn't. If you go back and you listen to that, because all they did was edit it out to prove, to try to prove the little narrative or whatever. But don't nobody come at me with it, because they know I'll just give them truth. But the truth is, I never said she couldn't wear it. I didn't say she didn't have a right to be in the gym. I never said nothing. I just said, for the guys, let me help you. If you're having a problem in your marriage and you find it hard to stay faithful, well, if you just remove this little obstacle here, this might help you. This little roadblock, this little hindrance. That's it. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I've got a young son who this is what I teach him. If the spot gets too hot, you got to dip, man. You got to go, because you're going to fall into sin. That's why, follow David and Bathsheba. That's exactly what happened.
But you're living in a world that's completely different to theirs.
Right.
Right.
You're
So,
right.
so their view of sexuality is she should be able to wear whatever she wants, and if you like it, taste it. Or if you think that she's hot, go talk to her. Even though you're married, so what? We have an open relationship. Hey, we talked about Will the other day.
The slap, boy. It ain't working out too well.
Upon further review, okay? Upon further review.
Mike wants to correct the record.
Okay. Maybe Chris shouldn't have gotten slapped.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Okay. We got to get to this part. I've been waiting so long. If y'all don't hear nothing else or tune in to nothing else, you got to tune in this part. They don't know it's coming.
No.
I've been waiting so long for this.
Let's go.
Oh, man, it's like Christmas right now. Today's subject of the Tower Theater. We're going to talk about things Adventure has been blamed for, but it wasn't us.
Okay.
Things we've been blamed for, but it wasn't us. Y'all got to tune in this next 10 minutes.
Is this like Family Feud? Yeah. Like, okay, where are you at on the list?
There's probably 1 through 12 right here. You know,
Okay. So I'm going to give you this one. This weekend, there was a car show. And 2 nice vehicles were parked underneath the marquee on the terrazzo, which is the very nice flooring. Okay. And everybody was blowing up on social media that this is what happens when the church buys the theater. What? They allow expensive cars on a pristine floor. Wow. They're a bunch of idiots.
Wow.
That's putting it mildly.
They called you a Mexican that's parking on the grass. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did. Yeah. Parking on the lawn. Someone called code enforcement.
Yeah. That's right.
That is so racist.
You're not.
Tell him he can do our grass, but he can't do that.
You're not supposed to park on grass. I love parking on grass. I love parking on grass.
Only for barbecuing out front, right?
Like, bro. You're not parking on the grass.
My goodness. That's a real thing? That really happened?
I swear, I got it right here. People were sending me screenshots. I can't believe the church. They're a bunch of idiots. They're so stupid. They don't know how to preserve things. It's a historical landmark. So apparently, we own the theater.
Yeah. Okay, that's what's up.
Okay, we threw the car show. Yeah, that's what's up. And we allowed people to park there. What? Was anybody even at the car show?
I walked through there.
Oh, Bill.
I had it.
So it's Bill's fault.
So we had men's breakfast that morning. By the way, that was fantastic.
That was good.
And then I took my boys over there, and a couple of the men walked over there. I took my boys, and we actually had a good time.
Good.
Walking, it was good weather. We walked the street.
Was it pretty easy parking cars up there?
No.
No. I mean, you had to park them under the terrazzo. So
you're talking about the.
That was, for the record, that was Bill Richardson's car under the terrazzo.
Sorry. Hey, man, I drive a 2005 little truck, okay? It's got 255,000 miles. That wasn't my truck, okay? But anyways, we had a good time. The streets were blocked off. Everybody was having a good time. And some sweet cars that were out there.
Right.
And so I didn't expect that people were going to have...
What else?
To the tower.
What else you got on our list?
But people blamed us. Okay. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. People got mad at us because they thought we put up the Larry Elder posters inside the Tower Theater for all the protesters to look at. We got the blame for that during Gavin Newsom's recall. Okay.
First off, we got to set something clear. The current owner of Tower Theater is a 100% conservative guy, right? Who, his family has owned it for 80 years.
Right.
His mom was a Reagan conservative.
Right.
And so maybe they have a perception of what Tower Theater has been, but the owners have been right-leaning conservatives for a long time.
And the owner put the Larry Elder posters. The owner put the cars in the terrazzo.
We're not the owner?
We're not the owners.
Oh,
not the owners yet. I'm trying to be the owner, but I'm not the owner yet. So this is another one we got blamed for. And by the way, they called Larry Elder white supremacist as well.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, I felt bad for Larry Elder. For those who know, Larry Elder.
There's a part of that
the white part, was it the white part?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen Larry Elder. I've met him. He's definitely not white. So
if I'm going to keep getting called a white supremacist, I want the benefits of being white.
Well, so you want to get pulled over and what?
Yeah, give me something. I'm sick of this.
Can we talk about what happened yesterday?
There are some benefits to being white that not all white people get.
DeShawn,
I can't give you $100.
I don't know. Let me try it out. Like you said, you want to try the money.
DeShawn, we got to bring this up. Are you okay talking about what happened yesterday in the parking lot? Okay, so long story short, me and DeShawn and George are sitting in the back. We get approached by this guy. This is right before the last service ends.
Right.
He comes up, and starts blaming us that one of the signs scratched his Corvette. He says Corvette, right?
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys are the Proud Boy, white supremacist church." DeShawn, hilarious. He goes, "Yep, that's me." and real quick, he's like, "I'm not talking to you," and he starts going. He starts going at us.
So there was an Asian, a Mexican, and a black guy who he walked up.
Correct, and we're the white supremacist church.
Yeah,
right.
I was missing in that equation. I know Mike's around here somewhere. That's who I'm talking to.
Right, and so long story short, it turns out that he actually, hit the sign with his car, and almost hit one of our security guys. And there's witnesses about that, but it's funny how the narrative. So all these things we laugh at now,
right?
But think about what just happened yesterday, right? And so this guy, he's not a protester across the street. He's just coming up to the Tower Theater,
right?
And he sees us there, and so for the last year and a half, we've been blamed to be this extreme group,
right?
And this is how he's coming. This is his mentality coming.
No, you're right.
Well, when you have Esmeralda Soria, when you have Miguel Arias, when you have Mayor Dyer, when you have Matthew Grundy, and you have all these other people who allowed the narrative to be written, talked about, spewed about, then people like him get a false reality of what's really going on. Those politicians should be held accountable for the words that they spew. Period.
Absolutely, and that's
or what they don't correct.
What they say, what they don't say, the flags they raise, everything.
Well, because let's keep it. I got more, and this is going to tie right into it. How about this one? How about when Lawrence Abate and his son changed the marquee and said about Rush Limbaugh? That so long, Rush, it was great having you around. And there was pictures of his son on the ladder changing the marquee, but I got all the hate mail.
I'm watching him do it. I saw him do that, and I was like, he's not going to put anything. That says Ush. He's not going to put an R on there. He's not talking about Rush right now.
He wasn't going for Usher? No,
man.
Was it Usher tour? No?
And I was like,
and I'm sitting here going, and they were blowing up my phone. I can't believe the church would put up Rush Limbaugh, the homophobic racist that he was. And people are literally saying, I have a picture of Lawrence and his son putting up. No, somebody photoshopped it. That had to have been Anthony. I am definitely not skinny and I'm definitely not white. It was not me. And I couldn't believe that I got all the flack for that. But it was them, once again. But nobody went after, that's that white privilege. Nobody went after Lawrence.
Yeah.
All they did was come after me. That's how it feels to be white, DeShawn. You can do it and say somebody else did it.
Oh, okay. That's what happened.
I got to try that.
Okay, here's another one. This is the one. Getting ready to it.
All right.
I'm going to tie these in. How about this one? The most controversial. Number one. Here we go. How about when Hanson, what's his name? First name?
Jeremy.
No.
Jerome
Hanson, owner of the Painted Table. Owner of the Painted Table that still operates off Blackstone Avenue, but used to be located in the Tower District. Jerome Hanson said that the church sent a threatening homophobic email under the surname of Candy Lane. Suspect right there, okay, Candy Lane. And he was scared for his life because, quote unquote, the church threat was real. And those two council members, Soria and Arias, ran with it. And all of a sudden, the church got labeled from that moment on as being homophobic, transphobic, womenophobic, manophobic. We were phobic of phobics. We had them all going. I almost cussed on that one. It's just the phobic is throwing me off. But from that moment on, we were labeled, and they started protesting under a false pretense, and they were holding little like webinars about it, and we need to be safe from the church, and they're a bunch of white colonizers. And 6 months later, what happened? Under FBI and police investigation, it came out that it wasn't us, that it was another homosexual man in the Tower District who wrote that email. So here it is. I'll wait for my apology.
You'll keep waiting.
It's not coming.
Jerome Hanson, where you at, dog? Where's the Painted Table? Where you at, fam? Come on through with that apology.
And what,
Shaggy said it wasn't me. It wasn't me, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Like a silly mistake?
A silly threat.
It's a silly threat.
Oh, silly
Afterwards,
restriction for kids. Come
afterwards it was a silly threat.
Silly threat.
Yeah.
Silly threat. But where's my apology? Where's Esmeralda at? Esmeralda, I'm waiting. Remember? You wanted to host a little Google forum or whatever forum you held. Church wasn't safe.
Yep.
We can't have that thread here. Where you at? Where you at, Miguel? Where you at? Where's Dyer? Where's one Fresno? Can I get one Fresno? Hey, how about Matthew Grundy? He's the one that dropped off a letter to us. Where's the love? Can I get some love?
He a sellout.
No, he said, oh, we got no fam? Come on, where we at? These are all the things we've been blamed for. Guess what? We haven't been guilty of any of them. I got one for you. When's the last time we protested something?
100%.
Hey,
My kids protested dinner the other night.
Oh, what'd they do?
He said, well, I don't want that. All right, well, go make a sign about it. Maybe that'll change maybe that'll change some stuff.
Did you just say make a sign? Hey, I'm going to do another episode and we're going to talk about the greatest signs they've made so far because some of them have been pretty good, but at least funny in my point of view. But I'm just saying, where's the apologies? Everything they accused us of is everything they've done to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Can on that note, can I add one more?
Add one more, yeah, add to the list.
Yeah.
Liquor licenses.
Oh!
Ding, ding, ding. That might be the best
Okay.
one.
Let's go.
Let's give the background. So
Good answer.
Yeah. So
Survey
again,
says number one.
this is at the top of my list here. This is good. Okay, so Esmeralda and Miguel went out and said, "Hey, if there's a church in the Tower Theater, it's going to
By the way, I'm
all
going to
the
call
liquor
Miguel Mr. LIQ because he's got more liquor licenses in his district than he was supposed to. Like
Absolutely.
3 times the amount that he's supposed to.
And he ran on, we have too many liquor stores in my district.
We just got a new one, 7-Eleven.
Yep.
Turn up, baby.
Go ahead.
Bottles of Henny. Actually, they don't sell that expensive stuff there.
Get your
It's
Mad Dog.
OE. Modelos.
They got out there. So they got out there with the narrative that Venture Church being there is going to put all the licenses in jeopardy, right? When they come up for renewal or for new ones.
That's right. That's what they said.
Right? And so we called ABC. We checked on that. It was false. Not true. A church cannot revoke any licenses, right? And turns out that there's a new restaurant that came in that's in the Tower Theater. It's in one of the wings. And so I'll keep her name out of it, but
You're
you
so
guys,
nice.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that too. But she has a new restaurant that's sitting in there. She filed for a license. And guess the two parties.
I forgot about this.
The 2 people that appealed her license.
Come on.
It's Laura Splotch, and there's another lady named Lisa.
It's Flores. She had my last name. That's right. Yeah. But
Lisa
ain't no
Flores.
related here. No familia here, just for the record.
Married it.
Okay?
She's married it.
Yeah.
So on 2 different occasions, they appealed her liquor license.
We got the video. We got the audio of this.
The people that are across the street protesting, saying we're going to be a threat to them, they're appealing her license there. And so it turns out that, like you said, everything that we get accused of, they're out there doing. Yeah. Right? And so we didn't protest any liquor licenses. And so that to me is pretty amazing.
On that same thread of the church threat is real, somebody put on there, we were trying to go to the bar. One of the bars, I don't know if it was Splash or Fab, and they said somebody from our church was holding a sign out there, and it was making everybody feel really uncomfortable.
Ooh, there's another one. What's the brew spot?
Fres Brew?
Fres Brew?
Fres Brew?
Yeah, across the street.
Yeah, that fool.
Yeah. He's liar too.
Yeah.
Lying, bro. Why you gotta lie?
Oh, what'd he say?
Remember they said that we were protesting after a service or something. People came over and were protesting as people were coming into his spot.
Really?
Right. Although like at that time it was during COVID and like their hours didn't even match up to when we were going to church.
Gosh. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
one.
so now he's got his sign up and try to protest us and all this other stuff, dude.
The thing that blows me away is it's almost like we're gonna accuse you of doing it so we can go and do it.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad because for all these weeks, right, whatever, 68, 69 weeks, whatever, none of it is stuck because none of it is true.
Yeah.
And it just blows me away the things we get blamed for. So we're setting the record straight, and we love this forum to be able to do so you can play this for people. But I tell you right now, we have yet to ever protest. We've yet to shut down any businesses. Mm-hmm. I've been on record a multiplicity of times. I said, I don't care what shops you open up. I don't care what you do. We're going to preach Christ crucified and him resurrected. It's going to be an amazing thing. And just still their phrase, we can all what? coexist together. That if you're really going to say you're a tolerant community, then we're going to welcome us in, right? We're here to stay. We can all be family, right? And I just think it's funny because they're the intolerant ones. We've done everything we said we were going to do, and we're going to continue to do so, right?
Yep.
That's how we. So I need y'all to share this word. There was a Not Offended podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Hey, y'all missed a great last 15 minutes. The things they've accused us of, but we're not guilty. This is so good. I feel like OJ. If the glove don't fit, you must quit. There you go, baby. DeShawn just gave me the look. I guess that went a little too far.
OJ might have did it.
I guess that went a little too far. Well, we might discuss that on the next episode.
No, he did.
All I was saying was I just feel like a free man. That's all I was saying. I'm not guilty. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're going to catch you guys on the next episode. Please like, comment, share, let everybody know this what's going down is what we're talking about. Blessings to y'all. Easter Sunday this week. Invite somebody. Peace.